My name is Aaron Piedra. In this video, I'm going to talk about the Glasser carbon composite acoustic violin, and as you can see, this is the 4-string model with no electric attachments or input or anything like that. This is fully acoustic. And before we continue, no, I'm not sponsored by any company, so my review is completely authentic, genuine, and honest. But it is my review and my opinions. Some people might say something different. Other players might feel a different way. So this is just my review without any bias. First, I want to talk about the price. When picking any new instrument, of course, the price, your budget is going to be the number one concern. As I'm recording this video today, September 20th of 2024, this violin on the Glasser Bose website, I'll put the information right here, it is $990 for only the instrument. Now that is for the newer model. The newer model will have a carbon composite sound post inside and a carbon composite bridge. This one is wood, obviously. This one was bought in 2020 or 2021. So this is the older model. And you can find the older model on websites like southweststrings.com. They have the older model for $960. And what I also like about the Glasser website is you can purchase the outfit, and the outfit seems like a pretty good deal. It comes with a 203 SH fiberglass Glasser bow, a Glasser tuner, rosin, polishing cloth, and Everest collapsible shoulder rest, all in a Glasser backpack case. And that goes for $1,050, which that's a pretty good deal. That's a lot of stuff for a pretty good price. And Fiddler Shop, another great website to buy violin stuff. They have it right now for $990 as well, and that's the newer model with the carbon composite fittings. Now what I like about Fiddler Shop is that they have financing options available, so you can make payments on it and it's easier to pay it off rather than just one big chunk of money. I know it can hurt some of our musicians' wallets sometimes, so they have that option available. Another great thing, and I'll demonstrate it right now, all of the models, the older models and the newer models, they come with gear style perfection planetary pegs. So they're not your traditional wooden pegs that kind of slip. They're like fine tuners. See, I'm adjusting it. And it stays locked in place. With wooden violins, you have to really struggle. Sometimes they get stuck. You have to loosen it, and sometimes the whole thing comes unraveled, and then when you tighten it, you have to push in a little bit. They get stuck. It's really, really difficult. So these perfection planetary tuning pegs, they're really worth it. Now the next thing I want to talk about is comfort and playability. For this violin, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. And the first reason is because of the action. I feel like the action is a little high, and that means the distance from the strings to press down to the fingerboard. See how there's like a big space? And you would think, okay, well, just lower the bridge, sand it down. But as you get closer over here towards the pegs, it's not that high. It's very low. And if you lower the bridge even more, then it's gonna be touching the fingerboard and it's gonna make a buzzing sound. So you don't want it too low. There has to be a balance between the height of the bridge and this part over here that's called the nut and their fingerboard. It's a whole mess. It's not just a quick, okay, lower this and boom, it's easier. So when it's set up like this, it's kind of, as you get higher up the fingerboard, I'll show you, it's a little harder to press down. And you may think, okay, well, I'm never gonna play that high, but I'm not too sure. In college, when I studied the Carl Flesch scales, sometimes it's Sol G, you have to go all the way up there, and as you get higher up the fingerboard, this space is higher, and your poor little pinky has to push down really hard, it's really difficult. So I don't know what your situation is, if you're in college, if you're a beginner, if you're playing folk music. If you think, okay, well, I'm not going to use this upper part, then okay, the action's not too bad. But as you get higher up the fingerboard, it does get pretty high. And the next thing is the weight. I weighed this with a food scale. This violin is heavy. This came out at 667 grams compared to my other carbon fiber violin, which was 588 grams, and my traditional wood violin, which was 481 grams. Now you think, okay, that's just a minute difference, but when you're playing 5 days a week, like myself, I'm a musician, so my 9-to-5 job is performing every day. And trust me, after 3 days, you start feeling the weight. After a week, after a month, and you start developing issues with your shoulder, your neck. The weight can be a big factor that can lead to different problems, so really you need to take that into consideration. The next thing I want to talk about is sound quality. Again, I'm going to give this violin a 7 out of 10. The sound's not too bad. I'm going to give you a little sound sample here. So if you're playing folk music like myself, I think it's a great fit for that type of music. If you're playing maybe in a string quartet, I don't know if I would use this violin for that. The response, even if I'm using a good bow, the response isn't as quick, isn't as refined as I would like it. The same for solo playing. I feel like there's no real warmth that you would get from an expensive traditional violin. It doesn't sound bad, don't get me wrong, it doesn't sound bad, but if you're at college or maybe professional in playing in an orchestra or something like that, I wouldn't recommend this violin for that genre. Okay, the next thing to talk about is durability. Will this instrument last you a long time? And the answer is yes. For durability, I give this instrument a 10 out of 10. Because of the carbon composite design, this violin, this instrument is not affected too much by weather. Here in Florida, we can get up to 90% humidity, 100% humidity sometimes. We go back inside to the air conditioning, it's dry. On wood violins, your seams start to open up, you develop cracks. One of my friends, his fingerboard actually came unglued because the humidity was so severe. So rain, sleet, sunshine, snow, this violin is gonna last you, especially if you play outdoors a lot. You're gonna wanna go with carbon composite or carbon fiber violins. I'm gonna tell you a quick funny story about this violin. Where I work, sometimes we use microphones and they clamp on to the violin right here, and then we have a pack that we attach to our belts. Well, my friend set the violin down with the microphone still attached. He completely forgot, and it was connected to his pack that was clipped on him. He set it down. When walking away, boom, the violin went flying off the table. And luckily, it just got this scratch. You can barely see it. See right there, a little tiny scratch. Nothing wrong with the pegs. Boom, completely intact. So this is a sturdy violin. Now the very last thing, I put a possible 5th category is aesthetics. This violin is really beautiful. It has a nice, cool, like carbon weave design. The website says it's black and orange. It looks like maybe like a reddish more to me, but it's pretty. It's a pretty violin. Amongst other wooden violins, some people might say it's not too pretty, and it does stick out. If you're playing, your entire orchestra has wood violins, and you have just one, this black violin. Yes, it stands out. But if you're playing in a different ensemble, maybe fiddle, bluegrass, jazz, maybe on your own, it's a pretty instrument. So I give it 9 out of 10 for aesthetics. If you have any other questions, make sure to leave them in the comments below, and make sure to look out for my next video. I'm going to compare this carbon composite violin with my carbon fiber mezzo forte violin. So we'll see you in the next video. Thanks!